hard thing to describe leaving the military. It was really tough. I had nowhere to turn, no clue what to do.
When I came back from Iraq, I couldn't find anyone to trust.
I like to call it comfortable in chaos. I was just completely comfortable being someone who was not me.
My older son, he was 5 when I came back. He couldn't understand why Dad doesn't want to go out and play with me, why Dad spends so much time in his room walking like a zombie. Let it shine on, let it shine on.
After several times of sitting there with a gun to my head, ready to pull the trigger, my wife was able to finally break me and say, what do you think it's going to do to your daughters?
Nobody wants to admit that they're struggling. Nobody wants to admit that they're not strong all the time.
We're losing 20 to 22 veterans a day just for suicide. You realize there's something that we must do.
That's why my wife and I started Project Unbreakable to shed light on mental health awareness and suicide prevention.
Walk of America is one mission, 1,000 miles in 100 days through 68 cities.
Veteran to veteran, first responder to first responder, we understand
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah. Right. So I'm Justin. I graduated in 2000. And I'm back. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Last time I was here, I was the first speaker for Beyond the Mess. I was not better. But I made people believe that I was. I made everybody there believe that I had made it through. When in all reality, I go home and I was still struggling day to day, even getting out of bed. Life was hard. Life was miserable. But I was comfortable there. In the video you saw, comfortable in chaos. My life was constant chaos even when I was just sitting on the couch doing nothing. Chaos. I allowed myself to sit there because I was comfortable. We become comfortable with mental illness or anxiety, depression, all these things. We just become comfortable with it. That's who we are. That's what I've just become. That's the way life is going to be for me. I truly believe that. I believe that every single day. This is just who I am. In a constant state of anxiety, constant state of depression. I think about killing myself several times a month, a week, sometimes a day. It was normal. But there was nothing normal about it once I was able to come out on the other side. A couple people in here, they know, they graduated with me, went to school with me. We did not grow up in a good time in Dryden history. In the class of 2000, we dealt with many, many deaths, and a lot of them were centered around football team, which I played for. I wanted to get out of Dryden so bad. That was my main goal, getting out of school, was to leave Dryden. I wanted to play football at college. And that was what I was going to do. I left Dryden, moved down to South Carolina, moved to Florida, eventually back up to Dryden before joining the Air Force in 2003. One of the best things that I could have ever done. I wouldn't take it back for anything. The Air Force changed me. It changed me to a person that had discipline, a person that could take accountability for themselves, accountability for their own actions. Working as hard as I possibly could at everything and anything that I could do. But deep down inside, even when I was being praised, even when I was winning awards, even when I was making rank, I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with anything that I was doing. I was always searching, and I couldn't find it. And that's when I became comfortable. And this is who I am. So I was in the Air Force for about a year before I deployed to Kuwait International Airport. It was where they were, all the troops were coming in and out of Iraq through Kuwait. So we were doing security for the flight line and all the troops coming in and out. When I went there, I volunteered. I was excited because that's what I went into the military for. I went into the military to deploy. I went to the military to go to war, to defend my country, do whatever it took, including giving up my own life, if need be. Well, when I was in Kuwait, obviously there's no combat, anything there. Never once in my career saw combat. But what I did see was more death. Death that you guys couldn't even imagine. See, all the human remains of my brothers and sisters who were killed in Iraq would be shipped out of Iraq into Kuwait, where we would take their bodies off a plane, get them prepared to come home to their families. 104. 104 body bags is what I held down while I was there. Brothers and sisters that I had no way of helping fight with. I had no way of helping them. I wasn't in a situation where I could. It just tears you down completely as more and more body bags came in. While I was there, it was around Christmas time. Luckily, in this deployed environment, I was able to call home and check in quite a bit. And it was around Christmas time, I think. The dad heard his name. Yeah. It was around Christmas time. I called home. I called my mom and dad. And, my dad told me, I playing basketball. I messed up my knee. I don't know what's going to come of it, but I may need surgery. So obviously, I felt bad for him. I had sympathy for him. But I had to focus on my mission. I had to focus on what they needed me for overseas. As time went by and I got closer and closer to going home, the deaths that I was seeing was really bothering me. Everybody else I was deployed with just shrug it off. It was nothing to them. So I started questioning myself. Is there something wrong with me? Why is this bothering me, but it's not bothering them? And so I conformed. I said, okay, this doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me either. After 5 months, I went home. Got home a couple weeks later, my oldest daughter was born. Air Force never asked any questions. They never said, hey, did you see anything over there that bothered you? Nothing. Got back, I had 2 weeks off. That was it. Back to work. And then when my daughter was born, obviously I couldn't deal with anything else other than being a dad. It was a new thing to me. I had to take care of my daughter. That was my number one at that point. She was the reason that I was living. She was the reason that I was putting everything to the side so I could give her every ounce of my attention. A little bit after I got back, started noticing some differences in my dad. He had had the surgery, physical therapy, knee brace, everything. They took it off and his knee was stuck. It was stuck in an angle. His boss said, can't get you back to work till you're 100%. Went to the doctors. The doctor said, well, I guess it's stuck like that. I wasn't there when he started going through his struggles, but I knew, talking to him on the phone, that something was wrong. So one day I demanded that he hand the phone to Mom, so she would be truthful with me, because I knew he was not acting himself. Mom got on the phone. I said, what's going on? She broke down. I don't know how to help her. She didn't know how to help her. Any of us know how to help somebody when they're really in a bad place. Some will say yes. Some will say maybe. But a large majority are going to go, I have no clue. No clue what to do. I don't know how to help this person. Even if I'm living with them every day, I don't know how to help them. As time went by, things just kept on getting worse and worse. Less attention span. You'd be sitting there trying to talk to him on the phone. It would literally be like trying to talk to a 3-year-old on the phone. You'd constantly try to hand the phone off. He didn't want to talk to me. Which is something that never happened. My dad and I were best friends. I told my dad everything and anything. He did the same. We were always truthful with one another. So why was he hiding the fact that he was struggling from me, let alone? Last time I talked to my dad, I was on the phone with him for about 30 minutes. 30 seconds. And he handed the phone off to Mom. And I got so pissed. I got so mad. What is wrong with him? Why will he not talk to me? Why will he not open up to me? Why won't he go to a doctor and say, hey, I'm struggling. Why fight it? Why fight it? I was so mad. Last time I tried to call my dad, got out for PT at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming at the time, so it was 8 o'clock here. I said, before I go into PT, I'm going to go ahead and give my dad a call, make sure he's okay. But I realized my mom had told me that he hadn't been sleeping. He was not sleeping. So I said, it's still a little early there. I'm going to give it a little bit of time. I'm going to call when I'm done with my PT. I get to my shop, make a phone call my dad's cell phone. He doesn't pick up. My mom did. My mom kept on asking me, are there people around you? Are there people around you? I said, yeah, my team's sitting right here with me. What's going on? And she kept making sure that there were people around me. So at that point, I'd walked away from these people. because whatever she's about to tell me is not good. Finally, the last time, I said, Mom, what is going on? She said, Dad, your dad shot himself this morning. He didn't make it. I had questions. But obviously, she was very distraught. So she handed her phone to a close family friend. I kept asking questions, and she confirmed it. She said, your dad didn't make it, Justin. You want to talk about the lowest part of somebody's life. When you find out that the one person that you feel gets you, one person that you feel you can tell anything to, one person that has never made a bad judgment on me or criticized me for any decision that I made, it's gone. Gone. I don't remember much after that. I know that I got home. I know that my family and my friends were around. But you just don't know how to act. One thing that I have to be truthful with you guys is when I finally got home that day to my house in Cheyenne, Wyoming, I just got back from deployment. What military people do when they return from deployments, they go and buy guns. And I did that. As soon as I got home, I reached for it. First time I'd ever been suicidal in my entire life, and it just happened to be the same exact day that my dad took his own life. Crushed me. Destroyed me. I had nothing left. I was a zombie. My soul had left my body. The only thing that kept me there that day was there's no way that my family can handle 2 suicides in one day, and I sure the heck can't do it with a 4-month-old daughter. After I got back from the funeral and just the whole mess of memories here and there that I can remember, can't remember, I went straight back to work. Well, I can't just sit around. I just can't sit around. I can't do that to myself, because otherwise I'm going to go crazy. So I went back to work. During that time, I worked on the Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missiles. My career field, we built up the nukes and the missiles underground. It was a crazy time. We were redoing all of our missiles, and so I would spend 16 hours a day, every day, working. And when that program stopped and we had everything up and running again, I got a second job as bartender. So I was working from 5 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, go home sleeping, doing it again. I consumed myself in work. And when that wasn't happening, when it wasn't working, I had no idea what to do. So I started drinking more. Me and my buddy, we would just go out and get plastered every weekend. It worked. Helped. Felt better. I didn't have to deal with my problems. And in September of 2011, I got orders to go out to Utah. Let me tell you that my career field in the Air Force was very small. It was only 500 of us throughout the entire Air Force. So we knew each other. Everyone was friends. So leaving this group of friends to go to another base was extremely hard for me, especially considering I'd gotten divorced, my kids had stayed with their mom, and I was leaving them. I felt like I failed as a father, too. Get out to Utah, they automatically put me in a supervisor position. We're working tons of hours again. Monday through Thursday, I would be out on a compound on the other side of Salt Lake. There was 8 of us out there. That was it. Friday through Sunday, I would just sit in my house with the blinds drawn, sometimes just sitting on the couch looking at a blank TV. Couldn't tell you what I was thinking about during that time, other than not knowing what the hell was going on with myself. January 2013, I woke up one morning, 2 o'clock. I had enough. I was done. I know what was going on with me. I didn't know how to handle it. I wanted the pain to stop. I sent a few texts to some friends, grabbed my handgun, locked myself in the bathroom, got in the bathtub. Thank God for friends calling back, because I would not be here in front of you if they hadn't called. After a lot of hesitation, because I had a top secret clearance. The military at the time was not very understanding of mental illness. Just like law enforcement wasn't when my dad took his own life. I finally agreed to go inpatient. It's a 3-day program. As I was walking through the emergency room doors, I looked up and I said, here goes my career. Done. Air Force is going to kick me out. What am I going to do after that? Problems just kept on growing and growing and growing. In those 3 days, pumped me full of medicine, let me sleep for about 3 days, because I hadn't slept in about 10 years. And they sent me home. On medicine, I'm like, all right, yes, I'm on medicine, I'm going to feel better, everything's going to be okay. I found my answer that I was looking for. Taking medicine, things aren't getting better. Going to a psychiatrist once a month, nothing's getting better. Going to a psychologist once a week, nothing's getting better. I'm doing everything that the Air Force and what everybody else around me is telling me to do. Why the hell is this not working? Why am I not getting better? So he started messing with my medications. Anybody in the audience that's on medications, you know how long it takes for these things to start kicking in and to maybe make a difference. I believe I've been on literally every medicine that you could possibly imagine until I was able to finally get on a regimen that works for me. But I didn't understand. Why was I not getting better? Why am I still struggling? Why am I still having these thoughts? Why am I just consumed every single day with my issues? I can't focus on anything positive in life. All I can see is the negative. So I faked my way through, so they wouldn't kick me out of the Air Force. I'm better, I'm good. It just means I had to work harder, which I did. I worked hard enough to continue to win the awards. I worked hard enough to continue to make rank. I worked hard enough to continue have my supervisors perceive that I was fine. My anger started kicking up again. Anger that I wouldn't want to show anyone. And thank God for that lady back, because she has seen me at my worst and she's still there. I continued to have suicidal thoughts. I had plans. I just wanted the pain to stop. And that's one thing that I want everybody to understand is when you're suicidal, you don't want to die. You don't want to die. But you want the pain to end. I've had people tell me that my dad was selfish. I've had people tell me that my dad was this, my dad was that, because of what he did to our family. And I'll tell you straight up right now, I truly believe that I went through my struggle to understand what my dad went through. And to be able to get up here and tell people that it is not selfish. It is the strongest possible thing that you can do to step up and get help. I faked my way for a couple more years. Till one night, I punched through 3 doors in my house. I wrestled with my wife over my gun. I screamed for 2 or 3 hours without stopping. I turned into a maniac. In my own perspective, looking back, I had turned into this person that just was not even close to being me. But I had become comfortable with it. It's just who I am. It's just how things are going to be for the rest of my life. I'll end up running my family off. I'll end up running my wife off. I'll end up running my kids off. And I'll just be here alone, breaking doors, yelling. That night that we were wrestling over the gun, I ended up in the hospital again. This time a 32-day military program. This program was the building blocks of where I'm at right now. For 32 days, they sat there and they messed with my medication to get it right. And we went through therapy and we talked about certain things and we talked about, but I felt out of place. I felt out of place because everybody else that were in there were Marines, Army, and they had seen combat. And that's one of the biggest things that people don't understand is you don't have to go through combat to have post-traumatic stress disorder. Anything traumatic can cause post-traumatic stress disorder. My dad taking his own life was enough for me. That was my breaking point. But I didn't have time to ever process what really happened. I didn't have time to process when I was deployed and the 104 body bags. I didn't have time to process being a new dad. I didn't know if I was doing it right. Never been there before. So it's this constant state of thinking, am I failure? Am I failing? Am I failing? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? Stayed in that program the entire time. I got out. one of the happiest days of my life. I enjoyed the process, but obviously you don't want to sit in between four walls for 32 days. It's not much fun. But it was necessary. I didn't want to go, but it was necessary. I mentioned a little bit about accountability. I needed to take accountability for myself. I needed to do this not only for myself, because, you know what, it wasn't fair for my mom to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to a text or a phone call worrying about, had I taken my own life. It wasn't fair that my wife was constantly having to wrestle me for my weapons, or her having to see my anger and see me punching through walls and doors and stuff like that. It wasn't fair for them. When I got out of the program, went back, same regimen. Medication, psychologist once a week, psychiatrist once a month. Oh, and by the way, you're being medically retired. Now, when you have a person who has committed their life to serving the country, you find that person that says, I'm doing 20. I was saying, I'm doing 30. I'm going to reach my max. I'm going to retire at 30 years in the military. I was doing everything that I possibly could to set myself up to make Chief Master Sergeant. And I did it. I got a 2-year degree from the Community College of the Air Force because that was a requirement to make Chief Master Sergeant at the time. I said, you know what, let's go on to my bachelor's degree. So I went and got my bachelor's degree. But I didn't finish that until a few months after I had been medically retired. I was still able to do everybody. There was only a couple people that truly knew what was going on within me still. Why did I do that to myself? Why was I so scared? Save my career? Yep. Save my career. I was willing to put myself through hell day in and day out from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed to save my career. You know what happened when they medically retired me? I filled my slot. I was numbered. Now, don't get me wrong, I love serving my country, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But I was just a number. I didn't want to go get help to save a career where I was just a number. Why? Why would I do that to myself? You're not able to think straight. I'll tell you right now, at one point, my thoughts were so rapid and racing that I couldn't tell the difference whether it was my own thoughts or it was somebody else's thoughts. That's a scary place to be in. That's where I decided things need to really change. So after I got out of the military, I was lost. I lost my purpose. You guys can see I tattooed my stripes on me just because for a long time that wasn't my purpose. I missed putting on the uniform every day. I missed seeing my friends every day at work. I missed the camaraderie. I had none of that anymore. I sat at home. I did nothing. I would wait at home until my wife came home from work. And then most of the time, by that time, I was so miserable from sitting there by myself that I was not good company. After I finished my bachelor's degree in September of 2016, I was medically retired in May of 2016. I sat around for a year, 1 year, doing nothing. because I didn't think I deserved any better. I thought I deserved to sit there on the couch and just wallow in my own pity. I thought I deserved it. I thought I had done something wrong in life, and that this is what life dealt me. Then one day, I don't know what lit the fire. I said, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to get off this couch? What do I need to do to get out of this house? Maybe I can become a counselor. It's going to be a long shot. I graduated high school with 1.7 GPA. Barely made it out. Graduated with my bachelor's degree with a 3.4. I was like, I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it. So it was that negative self-talk. I didn't believe in myself. And then one day I just sat down and I said, let's do this. I looked up who had the best counseling programs in the country. One of them was Northwestern University in Chicago. I said, this would be fun. And I was being recruited by them when I was in high school, so let's see if I can make them eat their own words. So I applied, I wrote my paper on what I'm telling you guys right now. I didn't hear anything back. And one day I'm walking around doing errands, and I get this phone call. She says, "Is this Justin Lee?" I'm like, "Yeah." She says, "Hi, I'm the director of the counseling program at Northwestern University." "Hey, how are you?" She said, I don't do this." I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "I don't ever call our applicants, but your paper caught my attention. And I just have some questions for you." So she told me about the program and how crazy it is. Because I had applied for the 18-month track for a 3-year program. And she says, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot, it's hectic, it's crazy. 4 classes at a time plus internship hours at the same time. I thought about it for a minute in my own head while she was talking. Can I really do this? Well, I decided, I told her, I said, yeah, I can do it, without a problem. She said, well, I'm going to be the first to congratulate you on your acceptance to Northwestern's counseling program. That was the day my life changed. Because even though I knew I had the support of my family, I had the support of my wife, I had the support of my children, I still walked around every single day not knowing if they believed in me, because I had been stuck in this spot for so long. And that program at that second believed in me. I woke up the next morning, and I'll tell you what, for the next 18 months, it was complete chaos. She was right. She was absolutely right. There was so much work, internship hours. It was a lot. I joked around with my classmates and said, I've got more anxiety in this program than I did in my entire time in the Air Force. But at that point in time, I just needed, I knew deep in the back of my head, people believed in me. I needed something else to believe in me as well. And that program did that. Get my phone call from my advisor. She says, I'm going to walk you through some steps. I want you to tell me, what do you plan to graduate with? What's your GPA that you want to graduate with? Well, I graduated with my bachelor's degree with a 3.4. This is Northwestern. I'll go with 3.25. As I went through the program, I had imposter syndrome. Does anybody know what that is? It's where you're where you're at, but you don't believe that you should be there. I think I should. Me? At Northwestern University? Shouldn't be here. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I'm not smart like these other people. Graduated high school with 1.7. And so, getting over that hurdle was very tough. Thankfully, with the support of my family and my wife, I was able to graduate in June with 3.9 or 3.85 GPA in the 18 months. That program, I wish everybody in here could go through a counseling program. I understand when you're in school and stuff like that, you go through psychology classes and all this, but going through a counseling program, I finally understood myself. I understood that I had attachment issues. If I was you guys, I would remember this. Attachment styles. If you have something in your life that's going on that you repeatedly do, look at attachment style. Figure out what attachment style you are, and it may answer some of your questions. If not, it'll at least point you in the direction of things you need to work on. So when I was 7 years old, my biological mom up and left. Seen her once since then. At 23, my dad took his own life. How secure do you think my attachment was to other people? I thought everybody that is supposed to love me, everybody that does love me, is going to go. Everybody's going to be gone. They don't give a crap about me. That was my thought process. Until I was able to pinpoint it. Okay, yeah, this is why I have an insecure attachment. I started processing this stuff, and things got easier, things got lighter. I learned more about my trauma. I learned more about what I was really struggling with. I hated myself. That was the problem. Absolutely hated myself. Because I was constantly worried that other people were going to leave me because I didn't deserve to be happy. Anybody who's in here today who's struggling can get through what you're going through. You just have to allow yourself the time to do it. I'm a firm believer that in today's society where social media is nothing but negative, you go to jobs that you don't like, you do all these, you worry about what people think of you, all these negative things. No wonder as a society we're falling apart. We don't take care of ourselves. And when things do happen to us, we're too busy. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. I don't have time to deal with this right now. I'm going to shove it aside and I'll deal with it later. And then something else happens. I don't have time to deal with this. I shove it aside. It's nonstop. Whereas if we were to take a step back allow ourselves time to really process and think about what is going on. Each individual event, instead of these 40 different events throughout your entire life, it's a lot easier to get through the stuff. If you let it build up, it will bring you down eventually. Take a minute. Take 10 minutes. Take an entire day. Go on a vacation. Do something. Don't allow yourself to be so busy that you don't focus on yourself. So worried about what's going on around us that we don't care what's happening in us. One of the things that I have learned in my degree is that we make mental illness a lot harder than it has to be, because we're consumed with these negative thoughts that may not even be real. I was going crazy every single day when I was at home alone after I got out of the military that my wife was going to leave me. I would sit there for 8 hours and I would just rile myself up. Oh, she's going to leave me. What? And then she'd get home and we fight. And it just snowballed. It wasn't real. I was worrying about something that was not even real. It consumed me. And we do this all the time. We let stuff happen, or we convince ourselves that this is the way it is, this is the way it's going to be, when there's not even a single sign that it even began. I love talking about mental health. I love talking about getting better. Because I can tell you right now, at this point in time, I'm better than I've ever been. Even thinking back to my childhood, the constant anxiety that I had being away from my dad when he would go to work. I don't carry that anxiety with me anymore. I don't care what people think of me. I don't care about any of that. If you don't like me, that's just the way it is. Why make people like you? Try to make people like you. Just be you. It's a lot easier to take care of your mental health when you feel like you can be you. You don't have to put on a front. You don't have to pretend. Because that is exhausting. I'll tell you that right now. Getting up in front of people and talking, I'm terrified of it. Let that sink in for a second. I'm terrified of this, but I'm doing it. Why am I doing it? Because there's somebody in this crowd or online that needs to hear what I have to say. My story, if I can help one person in my lifetime not take their own life, I succeeded. One person, that's it. And it's a success. So back in 2015, Kim and I, we also started a nonprofit, Project Unbreakable. A lot of people ask, where'd you get the name? So Kim had Unbreakable tattooed on her, I had Unbreakable tattooed on me before we even met. So that's how we came up with the name. We do mental health awareness, suicide prevention for military veterans and first responders. We're one of the very few nonprofits that focus on both, because the traumas are the same. If anything, first responders endure more trauma because they're dealing with it on a daily basis. And that ultimately is the reason why I decided to become a counselor too. We can get grants, we can get people donating, stuff like that. I can go out and hand counseling out for free. You don't have to worry about your insurance, you don't need to worry about paper trail, you don't have to worry about, because first responders, military, they're worried about paper trail, they're worried about it getting back to their boss. There's no insurance, no paper trail, except for my notes. So that's my goal, is to go out and just hand counseling out for free. It's all about getting out and helping your community, helping the people that are around you. So I'll tell you right now, there's people in this room right now that are struggling that nobody has a clue about. No one has a clue. Yet, inside they're screaming for it. They need the help. They just don't know how to ask for it. And they come out in different ways. They come out in subtle ways. A lot of people aren't just going to say, hey, yeah, I'm struggling, I'm suicidal, I need help. Pay attention to that stuff. Educate yourself. Because it's a growing issue. Numbers are not declining in any shape, way or form. They're growing every year, more and more. It's sad. It's sad that people think that in this society today, there's not any help out there for them. One of the biggest things that I see is we become a society of sympathy. I've got no problem if someone were to come to me and say, hey, I'm struggling, me going, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're struggling. That'd be it. What we need to be is a society of empathy. Where someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm struggling, you say, talk to me. What's going on? What can I do? Sympathy does not work. Sympathy does not prove that you're there for them, or, that they can turn to you. If you are empathetic, on the other hand, those people know that they can come to you at any point, at any time to get help. And even if you don't know what to do, even if you just have no clue, just listen to them. Listen. When I was struggling, I didn't want to hear what you thought I needed to do to fix myself. I just needed you to listen to what I had to say. Listen. It's that simple. So it's it's a heavy topic. I know that I'm getting toward the end of my time. I do want to take the opportunity for people to ask questions if they want. Don't be afraid to go too far with a question, if you do have one. Any questions by anybody? Yeah, you got it. At the end, if you don't want to ask me here, you can pull me to the side back there and we can talk. But I really appreciate you guys coming out, listening to what I have to say. Like I said, it's very important, and I hope I gave you guys enough topic or enough to think about when it comes to helping other people or dealing with your own struggles. Allow yourself to stop, step back, process the situation. Don't let it build up. be empathetic to others that are struggling. Sympathy does not work. I really appreciate you guys coming out here tonight, showing me your support. Hopefully you guys will be seeing us on a much bigger platform here very soon. And I appreciate it. Thanks.